a beautiful, beautiful song.
To know.
Yeah. To let it show.
Yes, indeed.
Diana Ross, the great Diana Ross.
Yeah.
The fabulous Miss Ross.
Yes. I'm in the mood for politics.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm in the...
Well, if you're in the mood for
I am
politics,
happy.
there's
Yes.
a lot of
Because
politics.
Sikanaba.
Which one?
Government has paid contractors. That's what the Ghanaian Times is reporting.
How much?
School feeding people are also getting money.
Wow.
It is scanning flow. Already, bro.
Which of the contractors, by the way?
Get Fund.
Oh, okay.
Contractors who have completed Get Fund projects. You are being told that 800 million Ghana cedis has been given to them.
All right.
Wow.
Now, School Feeding 2 has paid 280 million Ghana cedis in arrears.
Please, those who owe us, you have to
Sikana
also
flow.
pay.
Christmas, man.
And this is the Ghanaian Times.
Yes, so
Wow.
let me start with that front page.
Okay.
Debt owed contractors, government pays 800 million Ghana cedis for completed Get Fund projects.
Wow.
Ghana Oil Gas Awards, 41 companies, personalities honored. And Ghana Health Service to set up COVID-19 sample collection centers across the country. On the back page, there's a special event going on, 3-day green economy development meeting underway in Accra.
All right, let's go to the Daily Graphic. COVID-19 is real. Wear your mask. We're reminding ourselves, please. Now, rejected ballots and Ghana's national elections. Are rejected ballots the potential third force? We'll take a look at that. Security agencies charged to enforce COVID-19 protocols. Election years record higher road fatalities, says the road safety statistics that have come out. That's on the front page of the Daily Graphic.
Now, the finder, coronavirus cases rising due to non-wearing of masks. This is the Ghana Health Service. Ghana card holders can now use it to access NHIS. Dr. Baumia speaking. School feeding program pays 280 million Ghana cedis arrears.
Wow.
National coordinator. Akufo-Addo's industrialization agenda on March in Fourth Republic. This is the NPP. And Amidou Mahama lock horns over 5 million euro Airbus bribery scandal.
The Daily Guide, 5 million euro Airbus scandal. Here it is as well. Amidou dares Mahama. An ex-Nana aide Krapa donates to Oti NPP. More factories coming, says the NPP's Nana Komia. Don't compare NDC to Biden. Ghana card to replace NHIS card, and you can't stop December 7 polls.
The Chronicle, we have put 76 1D1F in operation. Nana Komia. Mr. Wise and Brave, come and meet me. Amidou also dares Mahama. Government secures 170 million euros to open bank. NHIS and Ghana cards integrated, and Herbert Krapa reinvigorate OT NPP with 50 motorbikes.
The Daily Statesman, Akufo-Addo's industrialization effort unmatched. NPP says 4 more means more factories. And you're not worth the vote. Amidou replies Mahama over Airbus stupidity attack. First Lady urges Ningo Pram to consider NPP MP, and Trump's one-term presidency has useful lessons for Mahama.
Now the new crusading guide, Napkofwe, yay, Napkofwe, yay, Napkofwe, yay. Goom. Osofo Chabosum. Christian Kobna Andrew says, I'll make NAPCO permanent with 100% salary increment. NAPCO, yay. Now more stories. Airbus corruption scandal. Show up for interrogation. Amidou dares John Mahama. Ghana card to replace NHIS card on digital platform integration. Economy recovering faster than expected. This is on the COVID-19 impact. And CVM Jas Mahama tells him to learn from Trump's one-term presidency.
The Daily Post, Ghana Business Awards 2020, Dr. Joseph Siari Japong named Entrepreneur of the Decade of the Jospong Group. All right, congrats to him. EC, Judiciary and Parliament must learn from US elections, says Mahama. And you are following Trump out of office, says Asedu Nketia to Akufo-Addo.
All right, let me take you online to give you a few stories you haven't heard in the newspapers. If you come to citinewsroom.com, NHIS has 23 million subscribers. Over 12 million are active users, according to the CEO. Also, Narcotics Control Commission destroys 150 kilograms of cocaine intercepted at Tema Port. Now, over 38,000 polling stations to be used for the 2020 polls. Meanwhile, on the issue of the sacking of Andre Siama from Parliament, seek redress in court, Ayariga to Esiama. Speaker of Parliament has no right to declare for Mina seat vacant. This is Kwekwaza. And Mahama promises to complete abandoned projects in the eastern region. Now, if you go to citybusinessnews.com, regional events on AFTA and NEDS to hit regions in November. Also, Setekbe says 5.7% GDP growth target likely to be missed for next year. And Parliament approves financing agreement for the establishment of a national development bank. MyJournalline.com, our delusions about defeating COVID-19 got the best of us. This is the GMA. Also, provide comprehensive medical report on Prof. Bennett's second murder suspect, court orders police, and no leader in Ghana compares to Akufo-Addo in nationalization. This is MPP talking about the Fourth Republic. Nana Kumia speaking. Star News. Mahama begins Ashanti Regional Tour today. Equapin Polo charged with posting nude photos with her son. And 2020 polls is battle for Ghana's soul. This is according to Mahama. Meanwhile, Bawumia says Ghana card will soon replace the NHS card. If you go to GNA, we're talking Ghana card holders can now use it to access NHIS according to the VIP. Also, Greater Accra has the highest voter population. Kojo, we predicted this, and this is correct according to the EC. Information Minister to deliver Ali Mahama Memorial Lecture at Yendi, and non-adherence to COVID protocols is cause of increase in cases. Now, let me take you to the US because there are some interesting things there. The New York Times says McConnell praises GOP wins, yet backs Trump's refusal to accept elections. So the government or the Republicans have not accepted the election result. Trump has fired his defense secretary Mark Esper. And there's also growing discomfort at law firms representing Trump in election lawsuits. And then we're also told that Biden is being pushed towards a win in Arizona, even though he's already been declared winner by many news houses of the overall election. Let's start with Kojo on the payments.
Yes, there's a song by Ahimkwa the Calibus and Price. Skabalajo, Lajo, Skabalajo, Sikanaba. Sikanaba. And page.
It looks like you are a contractor. I didn't know you were a low-key contractor. No, the way you happy this morning.
So
let me tell you something. Usually when we are entering Christmas,
yes,
if contractors get paid,
everybody gets paid.
The construction industry employs a lot of people.
Yes.
So when they get paid, people get paid. And then they buy. And then money flows.
And these
all
are
around.
get fund contractors.
Yes, people will get married. We'll go and MC for them. A lot of things.
I'm
so
not saying.
Trickle-down effect.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Now the story says the government has paid 800 million Ghana cedis to the Ghana Chamber of Construction and Industry as part of payment of debt owed contractors, suppliers, service providers who have executed various Ghana Education Trust Fund projects.
Okay.
The GET Fund projects include construction of classroom blocks, dormitories, dining halls, teachers' bungalows, library complexes, supply of educational materials such as books, science resource equipment, furniture, and others. The Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Chamber of Construction and Industry, Mr. Emmanuel A. Sherry, in an interview with the Ghanaian Times yesterday, said the payment to their members began this week and were being done through the electronic transfers, unlike the past where checks were issued as payments. Now, the chamber is made up of 14 member associations, including the architects, the planners, the engineers, the surveyors, artisans, real estate developers, interior decorators. All of them are part of this. So you see how widespread this is. Now, this payment is part payment of the 2 billion Ghana cedis owed the
So that's actually the
chamber.
story.
Yes.
2 billion. So this is less than half of the amount.
This is less than half.
And how long has this debt been on the books?
It's been on the books for quite a long time. And if you remember, the chamber gave the government a 2-week ultimatum.
Mm-hmm. That was last week.
And after that, the government has started making the part payment to them.
Okay.
So this means that there'll be some money to go around this Christmas season. Contractors who are suffering will now chop. Now, there's another payment story. Mm-hmm. School feeding program pays 280 million Ghana cedis in arrears. Mm-hmm. This is also very important because the farmers are going to eat. Now, the story says the Ghana school feeding program has paid 280 million Ghana cedis arrears owed caterers and cooks engaged by the scheme. Mrs. Gertrude Kwashiga, the national coordinator of GSFP, who announced this, said about 2,244 people, mostly caterers and cooks, were employed by the program compared to 1,365 previously. Mm-hmm. And in an interview with the Ghana News Agency, she said despite the challenges that the program is facing, it's been beneficial to many families in the country's 16 regions. So see, 2,244 cooks and caterers are getting...
So that's a lot of money coming in,
A lot of money coming in. All right, should we talk about Amidou versus Mahama?
Yes, it's
There's
also
a lot
trending.
of that. Yeah. And the Daily Guide and the Daily Statesman, they capture this story. So Daily Guide front page, 5 million euro Airbus scandal, Amidou dares Mahama. The special prosecutor, Martin Amidou, has challenged the flag bearer of the National Democratic Congress, President John Dramani Mahama, to subject himself for investigation if he thinks he's clean. Mr. Amidou says he's not minding Mr. Mahama because of security concerns over the impending general election, which the ex-president is also in the running. He said his long public service, spanning various aspects of security intelligence, and lists all the dates in which he served, made him more experienced in determining when it was not conducive to the national security interest to foolhardily take certain law and order actions. The statement was released to the media in response to Mr. Mahama's stupidity comments on the work of the SP, who had unveiled him as government official one in the raging Airbus SE scandal. Mr. Amidu says the special prosecutor owes that exercise of discretion to his vast experience over the years and his responsibility to maintain national stability, his conscience as a patriotic anti-corruption crusading Ghanaian. There's no question of stupidity or cowardice about it.
Meanwhile, there are reactions to this. Member of opposition legal team Godwin Tamaklo has taken on the special prosecutor for insisting that former President Mahama engaged in wrongdoing in the infamous Airbus bribery scandal. On Eyewitness News, he said Mr. Amidu had to drag the former president's name in his risk assessment in order to cover up the governing party's failed attempt to tackle corruption. He says it's become clear that the Akufo-Addo administration's appointees have become corrupt. Corruption has become pervasive under this administration. So in order to equalize for their failed attempt to fight it, they throw in Mahama in this particular manner.
Let's go to the vice president and digitization. Ghana card holders can now use it to access NHIS. This is Dr. Baumia. Thelma Abbey writes for the Finder that the National Health Insurance Authority has announced that it is linking the scheme's card to the National Identification Authority's database to allow Ghana card holders to access affordable healthcare services. Additionally, Ghana card holders could use their cards to access health insurance services at all National Health Insurance Scheme accredited service providers across the country.
Now, the EC has released some new numbers, and we have over 38,000 polling stations to be used for 2020 poll. This story is on citynewsroom.com. EC says there will be more polling stations for use in the upcoming December 7 elections. This is because it has designed more than 38,000 polling stations going into the poll. The number has increased from the over 33,000 centers used in the previous election. Already, the Electoral Management Body has declared its readiness for the voting, as well as its confidence in the credibility and integrity of the register. Director of Electoral Services, Dr. Shribokweku, told City News the commission merely split up the original polling stations. Now, it says they want to reduce queuing at the polling stations, so they decided to put the threshold at 749 per polling center. So there are more centers that have been split into 5. Some are 4, some are 3 and 2. The splitting has created about 5,000 plus centers. Now, this is great, but it will make it difficult to compare previous voting numbers when the polling stations start coming in. But that's a different problem. Yeah. So they're saying they are 95% ready. Then still on the EC, at the Ghana News Agency, Greater Accra has the highest voter population. Now, the Greater Accra region has the highest valid voter population for this year's election. And this has been so for the past few elections. Now, out of the 17,029,000 valid voters, the region has 3.5 million voters, followed closely by Ashanti with 3,020,000. Dr. Bosman Asari, Deputy Chairman of EC in charge of corporate services, discloses in his response to a question posed by members of Parliament over the weekend. Now, members of the commission were invited by leadership of Parliament to brief the House on the commission's readiness for the election. Now, here are the rest of the numbers. So, Eastern region had the third highest, 1.6 million. Central region had the fourth highest, 1.5 million. And then the Western region, this is the new Western region, the one at the bottom, had 1.18 million. Then you had Northern region, 1.05 million. The Volta region, 924,000. Then you had the other regions coming in. You have Bono region, 653,000. Bono East, 594. You had the Upper East, 659. Northeast, 289. Western North, 468. Upper West, 469. And then OT has 460. OT at 358 as well. Okay. So that's the breakdown. We'll give you more of this during the show itself.
All right, more on elections still. Rejected ballots. This is the front page of the Daily Graphic. They have a nice infographic here. Yeah. Are rejected ballots a potential third force? And in spite of the country's globally acclaimed democratic credentials, the issue of rejected ballots is still a challenge. Without adequate education, going into the December 7th elections, the situation may repeat itself. Rejected ballots come about when some voters don't do things properly, or they get confused with the voting process, thereby wasting the most sought-after electoral asset, which is the ballot. Now, it goes on to detail the trend from 1992 all the way to 2016, and what the percentages have been for rejected ballots. If you look at 2008 and 2012, aside 1992, those were the years where the percentage was the highest. So 1992, we had 3.6% of ballots being rejected.
Wow.
In 2012 was 2.24%. In 2008 was 2.37%. And it goes. So you can check out the daily
We
graphic.
also have some infographics that relate the number of candidates to the percentage of vote invalid votes or
Invalid
rejected
votes.
ballots. We'll talk about that later. Coming to the Chronicle, Kojo.
Yes, Otunfo says we should embrace peaceful elections for national development. This is on page 7 of the Chronicle. But right beneath that story, GetFund contractors are getting paid, but New World contractors are not getting paid, and they are threatening a legal suit.
Charlie.
Last week we read their story. They are the toilet contractors, right? They are still speaking. Now, the New World Contractors Association of Ghana has given a 10-day ultimatum to Ghana First Company Limited, which contracted its members to build ultramodern toilet facilities in the country, to pay them their monies, else they would resort to legal action. The association has also threatened to expose all metropolitan, municipal, and district chief executives who have allegedly taken between 5% and 25% of contract sum before its members were given the contracts. Now, Mr. Emmanuel Dapa, chairman of the association, explained at a meeting of journalists that its members were contracted by Ghana First Company Limited to build ultramodern toilet facilities across the length and breadth of the country, and they have not been paid. Now, the figure, 5% to 25%, this allegation of how much they have to pay to get a contract.
This is very serious.
Very serious.
I have some more breakdown on the electoral numbers for you, and when we come back, I'll show you. Do you know that can you guess the population group with which is the biggest? You know, we have 4 population groups: 18 to 35-year-olds, 36 to 45, 46 to 55, 56 to 65, and then 66 to 75, and then those who have 75. Can you guess which group?
When COVID-19 came on, we were doing the analysis of the population. We said that Africa's, in effect, Ghana's population was very young. So the effect would not be as bad as it is in other areas. So it's definitely the 18 to 35 year.
But what percentage do you think they control?
Not less than 50%, I think.
They actually 55% of registered voters are between 18 and 35. That has very interesting implications.
Yes, it does.
Now let's move to other stories, Kokwi.
Yes, okay. Bernard, your best friend, Donald Trump, is refusing to leave the White House.
Okay.
Charlie.
Kids are
He's
listening. Stop doing that.
He's refusing to concede. But we got some interesting perspectives from the home frontier, okay?
Yeah.
So in the Daily Post, you are following Trump out of office, says Asidu Nkitia to Kufuado. And then in the Statesman, Trump's one-term presidency has useful lessons for Mahama. So different takes, different parties, okay? The victory for Democratic candidate Joe Biden in the 2020 United States of America elections signifies an impending victory for the NDC in December, Asidu Nkitia has said. He's firm in his belief that there exists a correlation between Biden's victory and the possible outcome of our elections here. The first point of connection, according to him, is that since 1992, whenever the Democrats win, the NDC wins. He says the elections are a sign of victory for the NDC, and that anytime they vote for change, a similar thing happens in Ghana. The second point is that between the U.S. elections and Ghana, the outcomes of 2020 U.S. elections and 2016 proved that no candidate is guaranteed 8 years. So he thinks there could be a one-term presidency here because Trump was a one-term president over there. And then in the Statesman, supporters of Bahama have since the election of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris been expressing the false hope that the same will be replicated in Ghana. According to them, Mr. Mahama chose a woman as a running mate, just like Mr. Biden, and his hopes are hinged on that coincidence. But he should be advised that elections and democracy in the U.S. never started in 1992, so there's no way Ghana can share a simultaneous destiny with the USA.
Now, there's an interesting twist here. Many presidents have congratulated Joe Biden, but Putin, Xi Jinping, and other strong men haven't congratulated Biden yet. Their silence speaks volumes. This is a CNN analysis, and it says that congratulations have been pouring in for President-elect Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris from around the world, but not all have been forthcoming and acknowledging the projected victors of the 2020 election. Among the notable holdouts are the strong men who President Trump has cozied up to and he praised upon over the past 4 years. Now, the story says Trump's affinity for authoritarian leaders across the globe has been one of the few constants during his chaotic term in office. Then they talk about Vladimir Putin not saying anything yet, Chinese Xi Jinping sidestepping the question of what's happening, Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan also holding out and waiting, and then Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro also not saying anything. Although we need to say that two of his closest allies, the Israeli President Netanyahu and the Saudi Prince have both congratulated Joe Biden.
And Boris Johnson too.
Yes,
he
so
was very quick to
those
do that.
three have congratulated
Yes.
Joe Biden, but these four are still waiting to see what will
I
happen.
wonder what they're waiting for.
Maybe because of what is happening in the US. So I read a story from the New York Times, for example. The majority leader for the Senate, Mitch McConnell, has congratulated GOP, which is the people on his side for their election into the Senate, but has refused to basically say anything about Joe Biden. Okay, so story says leading Republicans declined to challenge President Trump's false narrative that the election was stolen from them. In his first public remarks since Joe Biden was declared the winner, Senator Mitch McConnell celebrated the election success of Republicans, but in the next breath, he treated the outcome of the presidential race based on the same ballots that elected Republicans as unknown. You get it? So these are some of the things. And then Mr. Trump has also fired his defense secretary on Twitter. Yes, Yashia.
Anyway,
Fired him.
talking about defense and security, government 100 million traffic management contract with Huawei, a big deception. This is according to the minority. I'm sharing this story because recently we had a conversation about the CCTV cameras coming up in the city, right?
But will CCTV cameras work without street lights?
That's a good question.
Can they work at night?
That's a good
Maybe they
question.
do, I don't know.
They work at night. There are cameras that have night vision.
Okay.
But is it enough to have cameras with night vision for the security agencies and not have street lights for the citizenry?
That's interesting.
Is it enough? Now, this story says the minority in parliament is raising red flags over a $100 million contract between the government of Ghana and Huawei Technologies for the Accra Metropolitan Area ICT Enhanced Traffic Management Project. Over 11,000 CCTV cameras as part of the arrangement are also expected to be mounted to allow security agencies to monitor traffic. Now, the former Minister of Roads and Highways, Inus Afuseni, has expressed stiff opposition to the arrangement, and according to him, this thing was approved sometime in December 2019 and it's been brought to Parliament. Now, this is what he's saying, and I quote, "This project today is being brought to the House by the Minister for National Security. If we even allow them to go ahead, you can rest assured that what they are going to do will be a candidate for what we call judgment debts." And he says, "Today we are being invited to approve of the same facility that has already been approved and which is standing in our loan books for the same project, So that's the man speaking about it. But I'll take you to Agric. There's an interesting story. 45-year-old police dispatch rider wins best livestock farmer in Accra.
Hey, tell me about it.
A 45-year-old dispatch rider with the Accra Central Motor Traffic and Transport Department of the Ghana Police Service, Corporal John Henry Moffat, has been adjudged the best livestock farmer in the Accra Metropolis at the 36th edition of the Accra Metropolitan Assembly's Farmers and Fishers Day celebration.
Wow.
John Henry Moffat, who is married with 5 children, had engaged in farming since 2016. He's into goats, pig, guinea fowls, poultry farming. He rears 6 rabbits, 1,005 broilers, and 300 layers.
Wow.
As well as 54 goats under very strict hygienic conditions.
Where is his farm? I want to visit him.
It's since
I need one male goat. He goat for something.
the location
to
of the
test
farm is
something.
not here, but I believe it's within.
No, tell him
Great
that
circle.
I need a heel goat for something, for some lice or something.
We'll call the
Ahead of the election.
Yes. Now, one more on the farming. St. Joseph's Technical School, Crown 2020 School Farm of the Year.
Oh really?
nice.
Yes.
I didn't know that competition
Because
existed.
yesterday you were talking about institutional farms.
Yes.
So there's a school farm bit
But
of
where is the city? Where is the radio station farm of the year?
Seal.
that one there. Say Nkwane
Seal.
But that's interesting.
Yes.
Where is the school?
The school St. Joseph, I think, is somewhere in the Bono region.
Wow.
It's not stated yet.
School farm of the
Well done
year.
to them.
Yes.
Well done to
And what do they
It's
have?
located in the Kwewu East District.
And what do they do?
And they've done a lot. Now, a board member of Blue Skies Foundation, Dr. Abena Asumenientri, has passionately called on the government and, for that matter, the Ministry of Education and other supporting ministries to turn the school farm projects into a national contest, just like National
Wow.
Maths and Science Quiz
I
and
like
other
that.
contests,
I like
so
that.
that each school will have a farm.
I like it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kojo. Thank you, Kokwi. That's all we have time for the newspaper review. Coming up next is the City Business News. Stay with us.